What if your software stopped being static and reshaped itself around the way your team actually works? Today, we're joined by Nikhil Jathar, a veteran software builder in the ERP space. He'll show us a 26-module ERP system he has been building on the OpenClaw Agentic AI platform. Users can not just create invoices in chat, but they can even change parts of the software they're using. If ERPs are not your thing, Nikhil will also walk us through how to use Claude Code to build an agentic, malleable version of whatever software application you're interested in. At Prescouter, my firm, we've spent the last few years helping large corporations think through real AI workflows. And I'm afraid many people still think of AI as a chat that sits in the sidebar. After today, you'll understand how AI is shifting from sitting next to the software to becoming the whole software.
So let me just quickly give you a demo of this thing. First, I'll go to the Telegram. Now, the thing with the OpenClaw, they are designed as a chat-first personal AI agent kind of a approach that they follow. And we do follow that too, because that's their foundation. List all the invoices. Okay. Now, this is the main channel where customer can keep chatting. It can tell anything, like it can tell the system that, okay, you know what, why don't you send this invoice to this customer, right? And it will send that. So that's the big. So you can see it has created that first invoice, $100 iPhone. It is still in draft. $100 per item, 7 items, and $700 in total. Now, we not only stopped there, we also built a front end for that. And the beauty is there is no front end, like we haven't written like a front end code. So it's not a regular SaaS where we have front end code in React.js and a back end code and back end API, etc., etc. This is all real time. So what does that mean is tomorrow, if I add a new module, let's say tomorrow I add a feature in my ERP system that is for hospital management or that is for education, like colleges, schools, etc., etc., right? So they don't need to have a separate front-end design for them. It will be built in real time. All they need to do is go to their Telegram channel and say, can you confirm that ERP Claw has education module enabled? If it is not enabled, it will try to enable it. So let's see what it says.
Okay. And my understanding is that OpenClaw doesn't have a direct webhook to the backend action, so everything gets sent to the agent. Is that right? Or how have you guys tied the screens to some sort of? Are there any actions you do on the screens, or is it just purely display purposes?
So that's a great question. The way we build this UI is so this is installing the module. So I'll let it install. So this is you can perform actions on it. You can actually, like similar to the regular SaaS, you can put Dino test. And you can say like individual and create customer, and it will actually add a customer. So, okay. and I'm going to go through the code too, because this is what actually makes a huge difference, right? You have a UI, UX, like similar to the current SaaS, and then you have this AI-native channels that performs all the actions. So you can click on inventory, you can view all the items that are loaded already. And these are, again, these can be edited, new item can be created. You can create like a warehouse. And if you don't like certain screen, you can actually go to the AI and you can tell AI that customize this screen from me.
And then this is kind of making the ERP kind of very malleable, I suppose. You're kind of personalizing it in real time.
That's correct. Exactly. Because, and I'm going to go to those parts too, because at the end of the day, we don't want to introduce, like right now on the left hand navigation menu, you see at least 20, 30 items. And we don't
Right.
want such a complex menu, right? What we want a simple menu that specific user understand. And this is where also we have built our own system called Aura. So let me give you a demo for that. So let's say if you are a property management company. So what you do is initially you click on property management. You say, okay, we are commercial. And you can see on the right hand side, it is actually changing things dynamically.
Okay.
Now, this is a demo, so it's just going to work for our health related stuff only. So right now, I just loaded the modules that are associated with the hospital industry, like a dental, then medicines and all. And it modified the left-hand navigation menu accordingly. And that's the idea. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're not going to have such a complex menu as we move forward. That menu will adapt to the user's need. And now I know this can be done in the current SaaS too, but point is we are not coding anything special for this. It's all AI.
So yeah, so basically, when you have users who are actually changing, historically, there's developers who build the software, and then you have this like fixed piece of software, and then you have
Yeah.
users who use the software. Now, what you're showing us is basically users can actually change the software they're using. So, have you thought about when you have two different users, do they get two different screens? And I know OpenClaw doesn't natively support multiple users. So how have you guys thought about those kinds of things?
So right now, two different users. I mean, we have designed a multiple user system, but those both of them are actually gonna get the same screen. So right now we haven't figured out dynamic UI for each user yet. But what happens is, and that's probably one of the problem right now, or it could be a security concern too. If some user tries to modify something, that's going to affect another user too.
So you maybe need some kind of permission level, like someone who can change it and someone who can't, or something like that, you think?
Yeah, something like that. So there, I mean, the way I see this, in the future, if a user like if there is a team or a company using an ERP or any software for that matter, they're gonna need people who understand and maybe modify the software by giving instructions to the AI. So it's very similar to the having a developer who used to work and used to take requirements from the business and then implement those and then goes for a testing and then eventually business used to verify. Now in this case, you don't need a developer because AI will take care of the development part, but you're gonna need some person from the business who can confirm, oh, you know what, this is all good, and this is how that screen should be for every user, or at least for that specific role.
So I imagine you didn't wake up one morning and decide you wanted to build an ERP system. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to be where you are now.
Let me give you a quick background, and this is all built using AI, by the way. So,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I used to work for a company called Accenture till 2013, and we did some of the amazing projects, especially in North America, like some of the largest utility client that I have ever seen. After that, I was involved in some independent consulting, helping enterprises as well as small, medium scale businesses. Initial forte was around accounting. So we as a team built like a smaller accounting software, and this is way back in 2014. Okay. And during those time also we built a mobile app called Super Snail. It was a gaming app. Uh, so we sold the gaming app as soon as we had that opportunity to exit from it. And then we built this SaaS app called Zap Inventory that connected with Shopify, Walmart, Amazon, and it gave us a good learning around how SaaS should be managed. Like for example, one of the biggest learning that we had around 2020, 21 was you need to be very specific with your audience. You need to make sure you solve one problem rather than solving 10 problems at a time, etc. Right? I mean, all those things. I'm pretty sure every good SaaS owner know by heart, right? So we built it. We had an opportunity of an exit in 2024, and then we exited from it. But our focus after exit was, okay, how do we build our next big tool? What do we do? And then we started experimenting with lot of fun stuff. That's where, like recently, when we were experimenting with OpenClaw, we thought, why not build something which is crazy? Like, we have the expertise for inventory, we have the expertise for accounting. Why not push the limits and build an ERP platform? And that's what the reasoning behind the ERP was.
Okay, so maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you went about building this ERP.
So, I mean, if you want, we can try building something right now, like on a runtime. Do you want to try that, or do we have enough time? Okay, okay. Let me share my terminal window then. So, uh, do you have any idea? Maybe we can build some sort of a simple CRM on OpenClaw, or what do you suggest?
Let's just go with a CRM for the oil industry. Maybe it's a CRM that contains vendors that are used in the oil industry. It has maybe specific distributors and shipping kind of vendors and cargo ships and such. Maybe something along those lines, just as a kind of a very rough example.
Yeah, sure. So I am going to keep I will try to compress some of my steps, but still I will try to show in high level the approach that so far have worked quite well for me. But again, these are compressed steps. Claude has a lot of MCPs and tools that you can use on top of uh, Claude Code, which can help to build much better, faster, and more efficient product. But for now, let me show you.
Okay, we're now going to jump into Claude Code and start learning how we can build our own malleable software applications. It might look a little bit scary because you'll see a terminal window, but think of it just like a chat input box, but one that can save files to your computer.
So let's see. So we're going to build a new skill for on OpenClaw server, simple skill to manage CRM for the oil industry. I want you to do a research for a simple CRM for the oil industry. So this is what I typed on my terminal. Now it's doing the research. So you can see it fired an agent to perform research in the background. I kept a word simple CRM. I wanted something which is quick without spending too much effort. So let's see what it comes with. It's doing its own research. And then my next command is going to be, uh, so if I'm doing a real software, I will say, uh, do you have, or do we have any competitors for such products? Can you please cross audit your research against their functionality? Now, I'm pretty much flying blind here. Okay, I won't suggest this. Everyone should do it. Otherwise, people just gonna keep building random stuff. I mean, I always say that build something where you are comfortable with, and you are trying to solve your problem or someone else's problem. And this approach basically is telling you that, okay, go to the competitor and try to find their functionality. But it just helps when you are building something. It helps. So do we have competitors for such product? Can you please cross audit your research against that functionality? So that's the step that I will put in to enhance on the research that Claude has already done. So what Claude does in that case, it does its base research. It tries to find out the competition, and it tries to find their functionality, what they are good at, their business case, use cases, pros and cons, etc. So I'm not going to tell Claude right now because we don't have that much time. But if I give this instruction, whatever the research that Claude is going to do is going to be much more detailed, much more accurate, right? And rather than relying on very simple research that it will return to me in next few seconds or a minute, that kind of a cross audit tends to do a better job when you start building stuff. So I hope this comes back sooner, but let's see.
So is this going to build everything, including the screens and a database table and all of that? Or so this is actually the step before. This is the first is just to create a product requirement document or something.
That's
right?
Correct. That's correct.
Right.
So this is step one to figure out the requirements, and that's what it did.
Right.
Okay. So now what it's telling me that, do you want me to draft the full skill plan? I'm going to ask it to draft it because otherwise, because it's going to take a bit of a time, right?
But usually you might iterate on this using your own expertise. But yeah,
right.
I guess for now, we'll kind of move forward.
Okay. And put it in a separate folder under ERP Cloud project. Let's call it as oil CRM. Okay. So if you see the way it researched, it came up with some gaps, and then it came up with some sort of like potential goals that can make this CRM bit different. You can enhance on it, right? Like as you just mentioned, the step two could be like, how do I get into the detail? How do I put more approaches, more functionality, or not necessarily more, but how do I go deeper in certain functionality where I would like to focus on? So let's say if I'm building a oil industry CRM, but that is only focused on the ships that carries the oil, right? So maybe I can ask Claude, okay, how about this? I like your plan, but I want you to focus on these 1, 2, 3 things, and that's what the CRM is gonna be about. So then it can just keep on enhancing that plan. So right now, as you can see, it has started building that skill set. Eventually, what we're gonna do, we're gonna move this skill to the OpenClaw server that we already hosted, and then we will try to test it using the Telegram MCP that we already have running. Not MCP actually, we'll try to run like a real Telegram chats and see how it works. Hopefully there won't be any errors.
Quick explainer. What we're now going to see are the files we've had Claude Code create for us.
So this is my project, and I'm not going to write all these plans. Okay, I want Claude to maintain this. So from the day one, from the minute one, you basically ask Claude to, first of all, once you have clarity on requirements, you ask Claude to build a requirement document. That's like step 1.2. You have 1.1, you have the requirement. 1.2, create a document that stores all these requirement documents. Then, now within the requirement document, there could be like a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Like it's very similar to the way projects are managed when you are trying to build a SaaS software or any software for that matter, right? As phase 1 could be you build this 1, 2, 3 functionality. The phase 2 could be you build 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Now, this is where my number 2 guy is helping me a lot to make sure that the phases are also correct. So nonetheless, we maintain all the MD files. That's where Claude maintains the progress. We make sure that each and everything that Claude does is recorded. We have specifically mentioned in the instructions that you need to make sure that the phase, like for example, if bugs are found, those are tracked. Right? I mean, this is just an example. but the commits are tracked, the tests are tracked. Like everything is tracked in some of these MD files. The architecture, the primary architecture is tracked. What are the source files that we are building? Those are tracked, and especially with the large project, this matters a lot. We are building ERP. It's a large project, a lot of files, a lot of tables, and so on. So we wanted to track everything as we build. Now, let's see. Claude has come back with some sort of so I'll go back to our progress. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So Claude actually came back with the plan. It did not started writing the code, which is good. Maybe it remembered that that's how we interact. So if you see what Claude has done, it came back with the plan and it has written the plan in plan.md, which is pretty good. It came up with some domains tables and it said, oh, you know what, it's going to be standalone skill. So let's put that in a SQLite DB, which is fine. And I'm just going to ask it to, okay, go ahead, complete all the phases. I will test it manually using Telegram bot. Okay, I don't know how it's going to behave now because I am basically skipping a lot of steps. Now, coming back to the as it is working in background. So this is one of the learning that we had, that you need to maintain everything in the plan files as per your convenience. I personally like to maintain everything. You create requirement, you create test cases. So if I have created 100 test cases, I want Claude to track each and every test case as it completes. So in the agent, we have instruction that says anytime you send a test message to Telegram MCP and you receive the result, make sure you mark that test case as either successful. If it is successful, if it is failed, mark it as failed. If there is a bug associated, mark it that bug is pending. So that way, after so many sessions, if I ask Claude, oh, you know what, tell me what are the pending items, Claude exactly knows, okay, these are the files that it is maintaining. So it goes back to those files. It says, oh, you know what, out of 100 test cases, 10 failed. What do you want me to do with it? Like, do you want me to fix the bugs? And then I say, yes, fix the bugs. Now, these are some of the pattern that we have maintained. So we have some documents that we believe that we no longer required, so we move them to archive folder. Then in the social folder, we maintain all the websites or the web pages that we are creating. Like for example, uh, this demo page, that this presentation that I created, right? So this is also tracked in the in the overall large plan file. That way we know, that way Claude can actually connect the dots. So it knows the ERP Claude project, and it also knows now what needs to be built for a presentation, what we're gonna present in the podcast. So it like, for example, it knows that, okay, how many modules that we have built. We have built more than 44 modules. How many tests we have done? We have done more than 3,000 tests, right? So like it knows that how much during testing, what was the general ledger that was managed. So we managed around $22 million. We had around 6% of defect rate, and nothing is manipulated here. These are all real numbers. So this is what OpenClaw came back with. It basically said oil CRM is complete, skills deployed. It created tons of files. I'm not going to go through those. Demo data loaded. So let me ask it to show me the oil CRM dashboard. So I'll go back to, this will give you a gist of the efforts that Claude put in. Now, let me go back to Telegram chat. So let's see what it says. Show me the oil CRM dashboard. this. There you go. So it's already loaded some database, right? There you go. It logged in. Nice. So there it is. Now what I'm gonna do, uh, use the web claw to build a basic UI UX for oil CRM. Let's see if it can build that. Now this is supposed to show all the fields automatically, but for now I'm just gonna ask it to build it.
So yeah, just so we can understand this. So basically, you've built the skill through that Telegram interface.
Yeah.
Well, you use Claude Code, and you basically interacted with the skill using the Telegram interface. And now you're
Yeah.
coming into sort of another window into the same OpenClaw instance.
Yeah.
And in this window, you're kind of asking it to build the screens. So you kind of have like two windows into the same sort of skills and kind of database and everything like that. Is that right?
That's correct. That's absolutely right. And I mean, honestly speaking, I know some of these things are confusing, but end user is not going to see all this,
Right.
right? They like once they install something like WebClaw, the part that is happening right now, if you see on the right hand side, the expectation is that it will be done automatically by some of the instructions that we have added in the WebClaw. So right now it is doing manual things, but even the manual part is also done by AI. Okay, so let's see how it goes. I hope it does a good job. It's so eventually it should come back and tell me it's done. Yeah. Anyway, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
this is kind of like a SaaS builder in a way.
Yes.
So I guess one of the things people say is that really the only moat or defensibility that software companies have is the data that they have, and maybe they have, specific sort of real world things that they can provide APIs to. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know what's going to happen here because if they become AI native, the chances are they will need to move towards something like this independent instances for each user, and how that data will be shared, or how that can be restricted, or how that will become a proprietary data. Let's say, for example, with Salesforce, who has thousands of clients, each client is not maintained in different server. They are probably using, some of them are using common servers and all those things, right? So that's an open question, how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I do wonder if the business model will change, because I do think there are a lot of enterprises that won't even want to get into this sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And so they'll want an expert like yourselves to sort of help them build this sort of foundation,
Yeah.
and kind of help them maintain it and make sure it's working. And so I wonder if the whole model changes, it does change to become more of a service business. And I know you started in Accenture, and you know what kind of that is. So I wonder if, it is like there is a kind of business model change coming where it's kind of both software and service, as opposed to just only software with some customer support kind of thrown in.
Yeah. I was, if you ask me, I do feel that's going to happen. Like, that's probably the change was things changed from on-premise to cloud, and then I feel like now they're gonna move to on-premise again, but not necessarily like people will maintain their own servers, but maybe clients will have their own instances, and SaaS companies will not only provide the product, but they will provide some sort of consulting too. So
Right.
yeah, I do see a lot of potential in there, especially with all these abilities to change, adopt, and do things by user. So yeah, that's where the SaaS is heading probably. What
Right.
do you think?
Right.
I think you know better than me. In many cases, I would say. So what do you think? What's your own opinion? Where do you see the industry is going?
Yeah, I mean, my I suspect it is going to be something like that, where you will have sort of this hybrid vendor that is both an expert in the client's domain and because like this oil example, right? Neither of us work in the oil industry, so clients don't want to have to explain everything from scratch to like how the oil industry works. So I think there's
Yeah,
going to be people who understand both the software side and the agent side and the limitations of the agents, and also understand the domain of that client, and
yeah,
will basically help those clients to take advantage of this technology. So that's kind of where I think probably the opportunity is, and where I think there's probably going to be a lot of jobs actually. I mean, I know people always talking about the job apocalypse, but I think there's a big opportunity right now for people to learn this stuff
yeah.
and go to companies and say, hey, I can help you build this sort of AI native version of some of the software you're using that can make it more customized and flexible and more specific to your needs, so you're not having to go into 20 different screens and try and hack this field that was not intended for this purpose, and
Yeah.
all of these workarounds that people have built based on just having sort of canned software.
I agree, 100%. And by the way, if you can see now, this is some basic UI it came up with. Now, unfortunately, our command is still running, so I'm not gonna waste time on that. But if you click on Open Action Runner, and that's the beauty of this web thing that we have built, and this will work for any skill. You don't even need to run the same command that I just ran. If you click on that Open Action Runner, it already shows you list of commands that you can do. Like for example, you can click on New Contact, and you can say, okay, my name is John, and last name is Doe, and you can assign role, email, and all those things, right? And you can click Create. So this UI it built automatically without I passing any commands to that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
like you can go to this action runner, you can click on task, new interest, new lease. The same thing that we just saw, where we asked Telegram to give me the uh, list, like what leases are expiring soon. Right? I asked this question, and it said that okay, the lesser 3 Rivers Ranch LLC that is expiring soon. Now, if I go to Action Runner and if I say, okay, you know what, uh, let's see, I'm actually testing this in front of you, so
right.
I hope it will work. So let's see what we can get. Can you give me list leases? Okay, so and add a okay, list leases and give me, I don't know what is this, but oh, sorry, list leases and give me execute. Let's run. Okay, sorry. Unfortunately, the action is failing right now, but the idea is pretty solid. Yeah,
Right. Cool. Yeah, thanks for taking me through all this and sort of demoing everything here. Um, is, Anything else you wanted to kind of show us?
I think that's it for today. Hopefully,
Okay.
if we get a chance to sit again, these things will be flying high, or at least working.
Yeah. No worries. I mean, this is you showed us some really great stuff here, and I think gave us some glimpse of the future shape of what software is going to look like. So, thanks for taking some time to go over this with us.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nikhil.